Okay. Welcome. It is Thursday, October 13th at 6 o'clock, our new earlier start time. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Tinmouth Select Board meeting and call this meeting to order. First, I would like us to review the agenda. Any additions, corrections, requests to move things, etc. I would like to move the feedback form up to highway since it's a highway feedback form. Everybody okay with that?
Yeah. That makes
Okay.
sense.
Anything else?
At some point, you might want to have a little bit of discussion about the reaction to the ballot going out and the yellow flyer that was sent out about the special town meeting.
The reaction you're referring to the one email you shared with me, or is there something more than that?
No, there's more than that.
Okay.
You don't have to, but you want a discussion about this.
Meaning, so that's like correspondence and mail.
Sure.
Are we ready?
Mhm.
Okay, minutes, September 8 and October 6. In the section on the ARPA committee report, I would just find it easier to read if it was one sentence instead of 4 or 5 semicolons.
Okay.
Multiple sentences instead of that, but it is I think mostly clear.
We're just looking at the one from our last select board.
September 8.
Yeah.
And it's just the first sort of section there. There was a discussion regarding how to engage voters,
Oh, right.
semicolon, including a special meeting, semicolon, voting at the general election November at town meeting, semicolon. I think I would add in there, or alternate ways to engage or gather input from townspeople, such as a public meeting or a survey or other. And then it continues, semicolon, how to share the information gathered.
Yeah.
Parenthetically, it was suggested that Tales in the Minutes advise copies of the ARPA report are available.
So you're gonna send that to me, so I don't have to-
Yeah. It's not, it's just adding a few more words and changing the whole sentence.
I didn't have anything to.
No, the
No.
meeting is being recorded.
Yes, I do, but I
You will all be on YouTube. Any other changes,
No.
suggestions? Does that include also Thursday, October 6th?
Well, I'll
I would accept a
Would-
motion to,
make a motion to accept the minutes from. Well, I guess we should wait till Gail comes back.
yep. Well, we can just tell her we accepted them with the corrections.
Okay. I will make a motion that we accept the minutes from Thursday, September 8th and Thursday, October 6th with the corrections that Kathy is suggesting.
Second,
it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Sorry.
We accepted the minutes with the corrections that you were still here when I talked about them.
Okay.
Citizens input. Generally, if citizens would like to speak, this is the time to do it. There's a 3-minute slot per person. Would anyone like to speak? I see Sherry's hand waving.
Yes,
Can you, yeah, just take that thing off. Thanks.
okay.
Yep, we see you.
I'd like to address the restroom in the new town garage. I think it is important that a person be appointed to clean it to protect the taxpayers' investment. The calcium in our water binds to the china and fixtures and makes deposits difficult to remove unless cleaned on a regular basis. Additionally, someone needs to be responsible to empty the wastebasket. I can provide pictures of a restroom that has no one responsible for its cleaning. The sink and toilet are very dirty and impossible to clean. The wastebasket is regularly overflowing. So I would like our investment in this new facility to be protected and have someone be appointed to be responsible for the cleaning.
Any questions for Sherry?
No.
Eric and I already had that conversation. What's that? Oh, would you like the job, Sherry? We're happy to appoint you.
$50 an hour.
Is that right?
I think that we will need to address not only the bathroom, but the remainder of the facility once we turn it over to the road crew, and that's a great suggestion. Thank you, Sherry. Anyone else?
There is a citizen coming, but he's not here yet, so. He would like some input at some point.
Okay.
Just in case he needs a placeholder. He has a place to-
Morton Building update. Do you have anything you'd like to share with us?
No, it looks like they're doing all right. They're working away. Everything looks like it's, other than the little snafu with the door.
Yep.
Other than that, I think they're doing fine. They're got it all locked down for the weather and wind today. I'm assuming they'll be working again tomorrow, and Rick will be back shortly, so.
Yep.
Once they got the last bay is. Roof system is probably a third to halfway done.
That's the
The
different
ver-
roof
the-
system. Yep.
Yeah, the cathedral
Mhm.
part, so that's taken them quite a bit longer. Than the rest of it did.
Right.
But they should have that wrapped up tomorrow. I think they'll probably be putting tin on by next week.
Awesome.
I'm assuming they got some fascia on and trim metal on the fascias already.
Just a moment. Eric and I met there with Mitchell White is the foreman, supervisor, something.
Yeah.
Anyway, and Rick, and we talked about the choices that we had made for heating and bathrooms and so forth. And we both, Eric and I kind of were like, oh, we talked about an on-demand electric water heater, but we're gonna have hard water. That might be a bad choice. So I just sent Rick an email and asked him to send us submittals of everything that they're proposing prior to showing up with it. And we may need to revisit that hot water decision. I don't know if either of you have experience with hard water and on demand.
I had to put a water softener in my house.
Yeah, so I think we probably aren't gonna use that much water, so it probably makes more sense to just go to a tank.
Yeah.
If you guys want us to have a special meeting to make that decision, once we have sort of options, we can do that, or if you want to delegate it to Eric and I, either of those options is fine. My guess is it's well, it's an opportunity for them to charge us more money, but my guess is it's relatively small. Those tanks are like $150. So
Yeah, I mean, I
Just a
think
little one.
if it's under,
it's just to wash your
Yeah,
hands.
right.
So
I don't know enough about hard water or water tanks, and I feel confident that you two will be able to make that decision. So I'd be comfortable appointing
Yeah, it's
you
no
to make
big
that
deal.
decision.
okay, do you want a motion for that, or you want to just put that in the minutes?
If the board agreed by consensus to give you this order to figure it out.
Yep. Do you want a dollar amount if it's more than X? We'll come
Yeah.
back.
If
What's
it's-
your X?
eh,
If it's more than 5, I assume there's some zeros.
If it's more than
there.
$1,000, then come back to the board.
Some serious water softener.
I mean, that's, I don't know,
Yeah,
$500. I
Shouldn't be more than $500.
don't know what things
but
cost right now. They're
Exactly.
crazy.
True. A few years ago, mine was a couple $100. So,
Okay.
Well, it's this one though.
yeah,
Just a
Tiny little one.
yeah,
Tiny.
mine was
If it's
mine.
more than $500, then
Okay, so we'll put, if it's more than $500, we'll call emergency.
special
select
meeting.
board. Thank you. Hollis?
I just had a question about the water coming up by the washing door. There's a lot of water there. You know, what the plans are for it. I'm not sure yet. We have to finish you have to dig the, septic tank's gotta go in there anyway, as soon as the guys get like out of the way. So I figured we'll address it then, because we're gonna have to address it then.
Where's, first one go? The ditch. When the water was there, where I had the pipe. Did you hook into that one?
No, we didn't disturb it until I put the last conduit in. The last conduit's what disturbed your pipe. That's what's leaking, or that's what's coming up is your pipe. So, but there's a part in the middle that's not together, and when I was working on it, it was dry.
Yeah, it dries up in the summertime.
Yeah. So everything was dry when I was working on it. When I came back from vacation, it's got water boiling out of the ground. I'm like, oh. And Morton was working, so.
Well, I'm pretty sure that it comes across the road from that brook, because when that brook dries up, that dries up.
Yeah.
And it runs all winter.
It's still coming out the pipe that you put in.
I see some coming out.
Some of it. So we'll have to, I think we can just dig it up and hook it back up and
So is that pipe that's coming out now under the garage?
Goes around the corner, don't it?
it's maybe a little bit of it is. I don't know. It bends around. I think it might be under a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, it's below the footing. It's below footing level. So that pipe is.
Yes, we have noticed that, and it is on the radar, and the septic tank goes sort of in that northwest corner. So that's why it will be addressed on the septic. It's a
So you don't
holding
know
tank.
Where that pipe is?
It's outside of, yeah, the septic tank should be outside of that pipe.
Yeah.
There's a porch going there. I had to swing that conduit wide for the telephone to get, so they wouldn't hit it with the auger when they put the porch piers in. Otherwise, I never would have hit it. It would have been beautiful. I had to keep it out 10 feet because it's supposed to be 6 feet out, so they wouldn't drill through the conduit from there.
How deep is that pipe that I put in? That was like 30-something years ago, 40 years ago.
Wow, everything's changed. Grades all
Grades
changed.
changed.
Right,
Yeah.
it just looked like it gone way down, but I'm just wondering, I didn't think I had that pipe that deep.
Yeah, it was deep.
Oh,
Yeah, I know, like I said, it's below bottom of footing. And
right, that was 40 years ago.
yeah,
Yeah.
plus you put material on top of it over the years, so it might have buried, might have got deeper than.
A report from you, Eric.
Let's see, what do I got scratching? We're all in saying, getting ready for winter. I laid Glenn off. So we're done with him for the season, well, until Riley's talking about going on vacation the first week of deer season. So he said he could probably come back and help out for that week. Project in Crampton's Woods, they dug out a couple trees while I was on vacation and put a ditch in there where that spring pops out. That's done. Harrington Crossroad intersection was in the parking lot list. That's done. Seeded in March. Potter's Brook, we put some more gravel over the top of the pipe, regraded that, so that's done. We've been spot grading all over the place. School wood chips are done. They're
All 14 loads or whatever it was.
That
How many
I
was it?
pasted off and did the math, and if I did it right, it was 9 loads on the playground. And we put 8 on the playground, and we put 1 over here on the basketball court. She asked for 1. So
Yeah,
they
sure.
should be darn close to, it might be 5.5 inches rather than 6. So she should, somebody's got their work cut out for them, because there's 8 loads of wood chips on that playground right now. I'm sure the kids are.
Kids are having fun, aren't they?
Kids are having a blast on those wood chips. Love
Maybe
it.
just leave them alone. Flatten them up and stuff.
Right. When you're driving by with the grader, the driveway, the community center has its regular channels in
Yeah.
it from the.
Yeah, we usually just fix that, just so you know, we fix it with a loader, we take a little bit up. There's a big pothole there too that I didn't know was
Yep.
there, so, and by the time we got done, parking lot was full and we were snaking dump trucks around cars to try and get in and out of there, and it was like,
We're
getting
leaving.
out of here.
Yep. Just a point of procedure, our generic procedure suggests that people talk at the beginning of the meeting and then they do not talk during the meeting. Would you like me to continue to recognize Hollis, or would you like to ask him to make his comments during citizens section?
I think we had, like, we could do it at the end of highway or some, we had talked about this at a meeting in the past. about
Right, and we
having an
didn't
option and-
decide. I
right.
mean, the issue is he has issues that are coming up
Yes.
with Eric's things, and the issue with that is it slows our meetings way down and we have a giant agenda. So it's honestly nothing personal, and so I'm just, the procedure is I asked the rest of the board how they would like to handle it, so I am doing that.
Well, why don't we get through the highway and then if you can remember all the different things and then you can go through them all once we get to the end of the highway
Is that
update.
okay?
Yeah.
That
Okay, let's try it.
We rebuilt the 2 steer cylinders on the grader that were leaking. I have the kits to rebuild all 4 of them. We tackled them ourselves and we've never done it before, but they're not leaking, so we did a good job. So that's one thing off the parking lot list. I am working on crack seal. It sounds like NICOM is middle of November before they can get here, and that's pushing crack seal issue time. So I went to a class / demonstration in West Rutland, and Ambrose Equipment will rent a machine to do it, and I'm getting some, I asked them for a cost and availability on what that is, so he's gonna email me some pricing on. I know it's way more cost effective. Like, NICOM's $4,500 a day, and this is $4,500 a week.
That was my follow-up question. Is it gonna be less than 10 grand? Because then our procurement procedure would kick in.
It's $4,500 a week for that machine, I think, is what they were talking about at the meeting when I went to it.
Yeah.
And Danby may be interested in splitting a week with us, if we so choose. But I haven't got them on the train yet, and I will.
Do you want to approve or disapprove that suggestion? Because we won't meet per month, which would then be too late.
I mean, I would approve as long as it's under $10,000 and splitting it with Danby seems like an efficient use of the machine for 2 towns next to each other.
Maybe we end up with it for 2 weeks or something. They get it for a week and we get it for a week or something like that, but.
Right, and it's $4,500
It's
a
still
week.
$4,500 is way less than we spent last year.
Yeah,
And with
that's fine.
the traffic signals, a lot of it's traffic control, and with the signals that we have, we can set that up and just, it's an easy switch from one side of the road to the other. Then we can just bebop our way around, and I'd like to see how it works, just to see if it's more cost effective. And if we have time, I mean, Mother Nature might put the screws to us too.
Yeah.
That happens, it happens.
Sure. So,
By consensus, yes.
yeah.
Okay, approved by consensus.
I think that's it for me.
Did you, how are you doing on the stormwater reports? I think we were maybe hoping to see something. Are you
So
still trying to print or?
I will. I'm gonna leave it to you.
Me?
Yeah. So here's the deal. She says they're actually on the portal. So
Yeah,
you go to the portal and you go to our town. And then you can download the report into an Excel file.
okay.
And then from that Excel file, you could play with your spreadsheets and do whatever you want.
And do you, I don't know, do I go to like State of Vermont Stormwater Management
Yeah.
or something?
Yeah.
Mm. That was pretty clever of you to ask someone else to do it.
Well, she was telling me how to do the spreadsheet thing, and I'm like, Kathy is way, like, I haven't done a spreadsheet since I was in high school, so,
Yeah, you
and I
might,
wasn't that good
you
at
might
it.
not have the software on your iPad as the other
Yeah.
thing, so.
Well, it's on the laptop, but
Okay,
we did Works, and we used Works 30-something years ago, and Excel is different.
that was different.
Like I said, I was not that good at it then.
All right, I will take that on and see what I can do.
But we've met, she said we're up past whatever we needed to be done for this year. We're in good shape, so.
I think it was 15% and we're over that. And there's still some stuff that I haven't, that we did this summer that I haven't updated.
Okay. Do you want to update it and then I'll do the spreadsheet? So I'm only doing it once?
Yep.
You want to just let me know when you're ready?
Yep.
Okay.
It'll be a rainy day. Do it.
Tomorrow.
It's supposed to be sunny.
Yeah, in the afternoon. It's gonna rain in the morning. Anyway. Okay.
Okay.
No, open winter salt bids.
Right.
Actually, it's possible that this is the right time for Hollis. to
Oh,
speak.
yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense after that, yeah.
Very quickly, the road over to Hetman looks great, and it's gonna be way safer, easier to plow. I think Potter's Brook over there, ought to have some of the reflectors like you got on the road on either side, a couple on either side of it. Cause the ditches are pretty deep there, somebody that doesn't know the road could run into an issue there. Last thing, nothing to do with anything, but the chips up there, some of them chips are pretty sharp, I think you're gonna have some kids hurt on some of them. And that's all I think. Done.
We are responsible for hauling. and that is all.
Yeah.
Did you have in your
Figured
packet, I'm gonna now jump to the feedback form, which was regarding highway.
Yes, I've seen it.
Have you responded or can you just give us a quick update or?
So we added the same material.
the
There
last
as
page.
we did on Potter's Brook. It's supposed to be a state spec, meet state spec. It is a little stony. And it hasn't washboarded in the woods where it's in the shade. So I think what's happened is it's drying out before it can pound in. So I regraded it.
I don't know.
I called Rick, left a message. And I'll regrade it again if it washboards again. And I mean, if we need to put something on top of it, put something on top of it. We may need, I guess Ronnie said that Clarendon has been hauling some kind of dust to get a little bit more fines in that. But I can talk to the Clarendon guys and see what they're doing, because they buy a lot of their material from Casellas.
Mm.
So Ronnie's suggesting just that other material might be less likely to.
It'll bind it up better.
Yeah.
I think what it is it's in the sun and it's drying out before it can pound in good. And I mean, Hollis has more experience with it than I do, but I mean,
It's stonier than it ought to be. That's somewhat, the way they make it sometimes. S&C does the same thing.
Yeah.
They do it at a plant too, and it's way too stony.
and if you watch them dump the pot on the piles too, if they dump from high up, the stones will come off and they'll roll down to the bottom of the pile. So if you're that guy that gets that load, there's a lot of
Got
extra
more.
stone down there.
Yeah.
So it's a crapshoot. Well.
Did you happen to fill out the form? We're supposed to write down when the citizen was followed up with and using, and if it was resolved and so forth.
I did not fill out the form, but still, it's in my book.
I signed it, so you could just follow up via phone. I don't know what the date was.
Yeah, I did that Wednesday.
Yeah. And Rick is on the phone. Do you have anything to add, Rick? I'm assuming that's Rick Fowler, not Rick who's on, the other Rick who's on vacation, right?
You might have it for you. Say it again.
Rick, do you have any comments about the feedback form? If not, we'll move on. Open winter, doesn't look like it, but see on Pat's, you can see.
He's not muted.
Open winter salt bids.
So I hope the select board does not mind, but Eric and I took it upon ourselves to send out the salt bid specs using last year's information. Because you would have the process then, so that you could get the salt bids for you.
Good idea.
Thanks for taking the initiative.
Let's just make that the process.
I sent them out to 4 places. Cargill, Appalachia, and American Rock Salt, and something from Canada, which said that they would do it. Blah, 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 but we never got it. Something from
We have
that,
3.
So we have 3.
Great. One each.
FedEx appreciates us not accepting faxes. Oh, no, those faxes. And just out of curiosity, we're going out to bid, we're not using the state spec, is that correct? Because that worked better for us? That's a question, not a statement.
Eric, you know the answer to that?
Sorry,
Question.
we went out to bid rather than, using the state contract,
Right,
because we do better, or,
that's what I'm hearing through the good.
Okay.
Yeah. The state seems to get better service.
Okay, well, this one's out.
Ooh, gets-
why don't we start with yours? Gail's gonna need to write down the,
Hang on a second.
yep.
Hello.
What's yours look like? Mine just has a delivery fee. It doesn't have a
Okay.
price basis per ton.
We have these two.
Read that. That's why I said they're out.
What's this other page? It's not.
Yeah, that's what we thought.
Oh, funny.
That's what I heard.
Can I just put you on?
That's
speaker
fine.
so you can repeat that? No, it won't. Just hang on.
Something else in there?
This browser is not letting him speak. He just had something quick to say.
Yep.
Thanks for giving me a chance to talk. I was happy to hear from Eric and that he accomplished the repair as quickly as he did. I guess we'll have to wait and see how things turn out.
Okay, thank you, Rick.
You're welcome.
Okay, look at mine.
He has a Chromebook.
Oh, and
It's
it,
a Chromebook and somehow the browser for him to.
so,
They can't.
Well, all of
Cargill-
our bids
They
look
can't
very
even give
different.
us a bid, so.
oh,
Yeah, I heard American Rock Salt was not gonna service Vermont this year.
okay, so I have Cargill. And it says, price basis per ton, bulk de-icing salt. Says delivery 85.50. Estimated tons 200. And that's all it says.
Yep.
There's no,
All right. Well, this one,
Don't
Is
we
it-
ask for two different products, and
yeah, this is the.
this
is
one
the bid
used
we
our
asked them
form,
to fill
right?
out, yeah.
I'm just checking here, nothing
Well,
else in
maybe these guys
there.
win because they actually filled the form out.
Yep, you have Appalachia.
Yep. And this was, the bid amount was 94.74 per ton of mined rock salt. And the bid amount was 109.74 per ton de-icer treated salt product. They just added some information about their rock
Is that
salt.
clear?
Our
I know
road
what it
salt
says.
is stored inside of buildings and is drier than other suppliers. Customers actually get more cubic yards of dry salt per truckload because there's less water,
Oh,
less
this is-
fines, and less dust.
Yeah, they're not listening.
No, no, we're listening.
Our salt is loose and free-flowing with crystals that enable better salt spreading distances. This also creates reduced amount of salting trips within parking lots, reduced truck equipment hours, reduced fuel consumption, and reduced labor hours. Seasonal usage, 500 tons based on weather.
is that for both types or just one?
You got both prices.
The de-icer
there's
is
both.
109.74.
De-icer is 109.74. Bulk rock salt is 94.74.
Well,
Well, it looks like this.
help me
company's-
understand what you went to bid for. I don't,
Well, we bought from Cargill last year and all we used was the de-icer.
yep, and there,
So that's what they.
it says estimated tons 200,
Yeah, I don't think that.
delivery 85.50
They're gonna deliver 200 tons for $85. Let's go with them.
per ton. It does say that per ton. But they don't bid the other product.
Right, we didn't use any of the other products.
Yeah.
Oh, you
We
didn't,
just put
okay.
it on our- It's on there. We didn't-
Yeah.
Once we get our facilities figured out, we can.
Yeah.
But the way we are right now, you get regular salt, you'll bury it. One way or another, you'll have something buried in the back when you're able to get to it.
Mhm.
And are you happy with the Cargill product?
Go with me.
And is 200 what we use?
No,
Around 300, I think, last
3
year.
or 4.
No. I just totaled it up the other day.
Yeah.
It was like 300 or something, just under 300.
Yeah, I think I had asked you to do that when we're budgeting
I have
for,
it almost.
when we're looking at the budget for next year.
So what did Americans say? They're not bidding?
No, they said they're unable to bid it this time,
I heard they lost their storage area.
but they'd like to remain on our mailing list.
okay,
All right.
Okay.
Well, I
So-
would make a motion that we accept the Cargill bid for. Oh. The
at
icing salt
85.50.
at
per ton.
85.50 a ton.
They gave us a lot better service last year than they have in the past.
Great, perfect.
And who seconded that?
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Gail has a TAP grant report. Maybe.
Well,
I mean-
I've had some success. I actually got into the SAM system and it let me get all the way through. Well, let me go halfway and it kicked me out, but I was able to get back to where I was. I filed it. I got a confirmation that I filed it. We had to verify the social security number with the IRS. And this morning I come in and there's 6 incident reports from responses to the incident report of every time you do it. And they say, do not start another ticket. We're still trying to work on the ones you gave us. So I did get the confirmation from the IRS. And then I got one from somebody that says, well, you're registering this under Tinmouth Town Hall. And we show that the gauge number actually goes with Tinmouth Town Up. So you have to explain this.
Oh my goodness.
So I have to explain it. I have 3 days to explain it to them. So I think we're almost there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said cross your fingers, so we're almost there to
Yeah.
get to the.
And then we can
And then-
begin to start working
Oh my God.
on the grant application. Or on the, whatever, the
So did you
process.
sign this card here? Or somebody sign
Oh, sorry, yep. I will.
it?
I'll sign this while you explain why Matt Patry needs permission to remove buckthorn from the right of way.
He has a natural resource conservation district or a state grant to do some buckthorn removal. And some of it's in the town's right of way, and whatever the granting authority is, say they have to have permission from the select board to eradicate buckthorn. We have to
But
give
he owns
him.
the land.
But we
He
have the
said-
right of
He
way.
said, I'm just relaying what
The
the.
NRCS is finicky. I work with them a lot.
So Kathy's comment to me was, why don't we authorize them to eradicate from
Everywhere in the entire town.
I would
Like
make a
we're gonna say
motion.
no.
I would make a motion that we give Matt Patry permission to eradicate the buckthorn from the town right of way.
Second,
Second it, okay,
all in favor?
right.
Town
So
clerk?
if we tell him he can have the permission as long as he goes to.
I know.
We just. give-
Amelia, you could tell him Amelia bought an extracticator, which is the tool of choice for eradicating the small to medium sized buckthorn that are. Like if it's really big, you use a chain on a tractor, but the smaller ones you can pull out with this thing much easier, because
Oh, nice.
she had 10 acres.
Good lord.
Woo-hoo. All right, anything else from you? I had something else on here that I was thinking you're. Town Trail #1, Hollis, you're up.
When Ramsey and Patty bought the place up there. They had Blue White working for them, and I came along one day and they were filling in the old road. I asked the operator, what are you doing? He says, well, this road's been thrown up, we're just filling it in. I said, the road's not thrown up. And they had just about all done anyways. They've let snowmobiles and stuff go out farther, quite a ways out farther down through, and put a fence right across it. And I heard through the grapevine that the place is for sale again. So I think it should be reestablished that that's a town trail up through there.
You know which map I was just gonna pull it out.
Oh, probably 5.
Just
Or
so
you
it
just
doesn't
wanna look
get
at the-
messier down the road.
You have it
Right.
your way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at the road map. Is the trail on there?
No.
And is what we see on the map, what we see on the ground, or that's what you're saying is not what we see on the ground? Mhm.
So this is like, this is the family race. We're right here. Here's the trail.
Mhm.
It's just supposed to go up and down.
Yeah,
And it's sort of hard to tell from here, like, how would I know that he's moved it? Are there
Because you can't
landmarks or
see it.
something?
No, you can't see it.
Yeah.
If you get down here far enough in the woods, you can see where the old road goes down through.
Mhm. So what are you proposing? Do you want to go in and cut it and blaze it, or? What are you proposing, Hollis?
I'm proposing that the new owners know what it is. And that it should be. If they're gonna fence it, it actually should be on either side of it, so that snowmobiles or hikers, walkers. Or wheelers, whatever's using it, can use it.
is that something the Conservation Commission would do, like managing that kind of a trail?
They could, but it sounds like it's been sort of disappeared, so it would need
Right.
some work to make it come back.
Right.
Well, if you get into the woods, you can see where it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Is
there's
there an
any-
alternative trail, Eric? I saw you raise your hand, but now you're not raising your hand.
No,
so-
I just, there is that fence line, there is behind that whole pasture, there's a trail down through there between the fence and the woods. And then the alternate snowmobile trail does go out through and around and it's open. But, so if they didn't wanna, you can get around that and still go down the trail. If they didn't wanna put a fireway through the middle of the path.
It is, well, if they're in agreement.
Yeah, you can go around the barn. You know, you go right around the barn and that, like I said, that whole, between that back row, we've bred snowmobiles through there. All winter, so there is a trail there. If you just have to turn a hard 90 and go on to the town trail.
Right, but it's nothing that, all you got is a permission from whoever owns it to
Right,
do it.
right. Yep.
Which is, I don't have a problem with, but I think it needs to be known that that actually is a trail through there, and if it's to be opened up at some time,
Is,
they gotta know.
is this map, I mean, when somebody comes to look at it, the realtors, are they using a map that has this on it? Has anybody come to pick up? the
It's
deed
not in the
documents?
deeds, is what I'm imagining. So it's not getting picked up on the title search. Is that correct? So
Ah,
perhaps you could point it out.
That's,
Great,
it's one of my jobs.
Yes.
That's why I brought it up.
It's not one of my jobs, but it often happens,
yeah,
you know, attorneys want to know what's going on with the
yeah,
property. if they know anything.
Just that they know there is a legal right of way through there.
and are there
Whether they
any
get
signs?
commercial
that
around, that's
There's
one
no
thing.
No.
signs,
No,
so should we put up some sort of mark, like indicator that there's a right
We
of
have
way?
other trails too. What, you talked about another
there's a
trail
that goes from Eric's out to,
straight through.
yeah. out
Yep.
to the river.
And is that's not marked in any way?
No, because it's on there.
Something just fell, sorry, whatever that was. Thank you.
But that's the town.
Not saying it's
No,
gotta be
where we
open,
get
but
into
it's-
it,
you gotta
yeah.
know it's there and can be open.
Right,
Where we get into a snarl if a new owner bought it and wanted to kick the snowmobilers off.
right.
Right.
Which I
They-
could
they
see
need to know- They
happening,
need to know, but
so,
then they could still, the snowmobilers could still go up and down that trail. So They
right,
would need to know that.
but that's
So
a
we
right
can
of way,
eliminate something before then, or.
Yeah, I mean, it might make sense if that was the response of a new owner to say, well, we would like you then to give us a new right of way for that trail and we'll throw up the old trail and then it'll be legal. And they can pay for the attorneys. Thank you very much.
Well, I don't think you wanna do that.
Well, it's probably not that much different from building a barway, actually, having recently spent some money on attorneys.
well,
Well, it sounds like the first step is to just notify the new owners and then
yeah,
See what they say.
see what they say. I mean,
Perhaps we should notify the current owner that says, make sure you let
right,
prospective buyers know that this is something you need to
And
let
the,
them know.
the realtor, whoever that is.
So if you contacted the current owner and said, we wanted, the town wants to clear that, we can do that.
We can do.
We can clear that road. if
You
we
can
wanted to.
maintain the trail.
I mean, if it's a legal right of way,
It is.
It's a legal
Yeah.
trail, yeah.
Yeah, we kept it. the
Legal
select
trail,
board
yeah.
Kept it on purpose, so we could have access.
yeah,
Back and forth there.
What is the right away there, you know?
I'd have to look it up.
Okay. Just as one, there's. it's
And is
there.
that, I don't really, is it like right in the middle of the meadow where the
If you go where the stone building is. the
Yep.
steep building,
Mhm.
just to the
north of that,
south of that.
to the south of that?
South of that, and goes right straight down through. Just barely, you can't see it because they filled everything all in, just looks like metal.
But it's part of a fenced in meadow now?
It's not talking, the critters just go back and forth.
Mhm.
I mean, all I'm saying is, if they wanna go around, that's fine, if they agree with that, but they have to know that there is one there.
Right.
that Can be opened
Right.
if they're, see so fit to do it.
Well, seeing as how you're a neighbor, perhaps you might would be the one to just have a nice chat with that, whoever the new neighbor is, and try to work something out.
Yeah, well, there'll be a lot of working out to do. The snowmobile trail goes across the back lot too. So if you get someone in there that doesn't like snowmobiles, then our snowmobile loops are done.
They're not loops anymore.
They're not big, there's a little dead end at Glenn's property.
Yep.
and you have to go down the road to go around the new owner and no one's gonna want that.
Yep. Was there any action you suggested that we take, Hollis? I think the first step, because it is on the market, is Gail is, I think, pretty much 100% likely to be here when any attorney comes to do a title search, so
well, if we
to share
clean it,
that.
if somebody starts to clean it up. And make it
Well,
look like.
don't you
it's-
think it makes more sense to just like meet with the new owners and just say, here's how it's been, here's how it is on the map. We'd like to preserve the town's access between these two roads for a trail, walking and snowmobiles and whatever else.
There is a trail there that's open now.
Right,
Comes out by Joey's,
right,
goes right across the south side of Joey's lawn.
yeah,
So that's where it comes out now, but it's further north is where the old is.
right.
Well, thanks for bringing that up,
If it's
Hollis.
not maintained, I mean.
Can
they could
you,
just look at it and
just
be
keep
like,
us
well,
posted
you're not
as
using it,
that
so If you cleaned it
happens.
up and you made it look like it's being used.
Put it on the to-do list.
Put it on the to-do list. There you go.
I won't be the only one having to do it.
Speed limit data report from the planning commission. There's interesting piece of work. Said that was an interesting thing to look at. So for those of you on the phone, we received a report from the Regional Planning Commission. Thank you, Sherry, which they did speed study in 4 different locations: Route 140 by Rainbow, Route 140 by Kevin, Route 140 by Kim Young, and the East Road. And what they found and the speed limits in those places, all the Route 140 locations, the speed limit is 50, and on the East Road, it's 45. And we get a report, and if I hold it up, I don't know if you'll be able to see it.
They will send copies.
If anyone needs a
they were sent
copy, Gail has it, so hopefully you
They
could
were-
look at it.
They were sent the packet.
Okay,
We have them. These, who's on the phone now, except for that, but
so the report from Rainbows is that 531 cars went by in a week. This was August 9th through 16th. And the average speed was 46, but of those 531 cars, 186 total enforceable violations existed, which is 35% of the traffic, and the average speed was 46. The slowest speed was 2, but the fastest speed was 109 miles an hour. right?
Yeah.
Are you looking at this?
By rainbows?
By rainbow.
Down by Alice. The things were down.
It was below the
right
next,
by Allie's house.
That's,
You can't make that corner to hardball around.
If you're coming south, you probably could.
going over there.
Going
Going
down
the
that
other
hill,
way,
coming
yeah.
straight out of town.
Anyway, I must say, I thought that these numbers were like actually sort of clear to me. As opposed
Yeah.
to the other numbers we received, which were really hard. So,
Speed limit is
I'll just,
50 there.
just for everyone's, so then at Kevin's, there were, and this really, I have to say, shocked me. There were 531 at Rainbows, 3,349, same period, Kevin's. Speed limit's 50. The average speed was 37. The slowest was 1 mile an hour. The fastest was 60. Total enforceable violations was 23 or 1%, and the enforcement rating was low. So they rated low, medium, high. Rainbows was high. Kevin's was low. And then Kim Young, 7,509 cars went by. Average speed was 42, fastest was 70, slowest was 1, enforcement rating was low, 662 enforceable violations. And then the East Road, where the speed limit is 45, the average speed was 48. The lowest speed was 1, and the fastest speed was 113. 66% enforceable violations. So there were 4,981, 3267. We're going over 45. And I would like a little more understanding, because if the average speed is 48, it may be they're calling it an enforceable violation when it's just a couple miles over the speed limit, but that was also a high enforcement rating. So then we received a guide to setting speed limits. And if you recall, I looked this up. Gail gave us this packet in this information also came in our packet in
So you know, Nancy has joined the meeting.
okay,
She's a
Hi,
black-
Nancy.
She's a black spot.
she's a black spot. Yep. So we have that also, and if you recall, there's this guide setting speed limits, and there are two pieces to setting speed limits. One is the engineering study, which is what this is, and then the other is, and there's a fancy name for it. What is the fancy name for it? You have to do a traffic study, and in the traffic study, you look at sort of all the other elements, you know, what kind of neighborhood is it, and are there steep hills or curves or drop-offs? And the select board can set the speed on any paved road between 35 and 50. And dirt roads can't be lower than 35, which blew me away. I know, it's ridiculous. Anyway, I had to ask when we looked at this, we had a complaint. I think it was in the summer. And I asked for a committee to help us with this, and I don't believe we got any volunteers. So the question for us all is, what would we like to do with this information? I think we should publish it, certainly.
yeah, oh, yeah.
Kathy,
Yes,
I looked at the data and I have a suggestion. That data is people going in both directions. And you can ask them for the data going east and the data going west, because a couple of those places, people are going up a hill or going down a hill. And I think if you were to split that data out, that might help you.
and I'm looking at the data they provided, and it doesn't really look like. Yeah, that's interesting information, Sherry. I wonder why they don't just give you that when 3 of our sites were actually on hills. So it's quite likely
Is
that,
it broken down in this?
no, I don't
No.
think so.
Well, in mine is heading into a school zone coming up,
And going up the hill, but going down, everyone's like, getting out of town.
right,
We can ask. if
right.
that Information. is available.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that would help decide what you wanna do, because if they're coming up the hill. Or if they're coming into a school zone and they're doing. 42 miles an hour, 60, 113,
That guy
That'd be
knows
some
what
you-
speed limit is anyway.
that'd be some helpful info, since
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. It's
25 coming
it's
into,
available by request.
yeah, I'd like,
Yep.
Maybe we'll make that request and.
Yeah. And maybe if we publish this data in the next Tales and ask for a committee, we would be more likely to get one made up of people who happen to live in these 4 particular areas, who might like to see, have some say in what the speed limit is set at. I know those particular areas were chosen because we had
mine
questions or
50 is
concerns.
ridiculous. I mean. 50 going down the hill. Whatever, I mean, you can't have it.
Yeah, we don't lower the speed limit as you come into town from that direction,
Yeah.
although we do in the others, right?
No, you do, so it's.
Is it
it's
above
com-
your house?
So they're
It's
leaving the
above my
school
house.
zone at 50.
They're right, but as you come into it, it's 25 miles an hour, and there's 0 people that sold to 25 coming to it.
So, yes, Gail, I think we all would like to see that it's split. And, does anyone wanna take a stab at writing a little piece for Tales? Perhaps
When is Tails due?
the 20th,
Yeah, I can. write
1
something.
week. And, I don't know, it'd be a lot to put each of those 3 large print things in,
Yeah.
but to summarize the data, I think might be interesting. And then to ask, to see if there's anyone who's interested in leading up a committee. I was hoping Ally would, but she did not bite on that, I must say.
He wants to be on it. And
I know. Setting speed limits, right? Thankless job. Any other discussion about that? Sherry, did you have anything else to add as our transportation rep?
One other thing they had, you can get time of day, and I think time of day might also help. Like, I've never seen somebody go 103 during the day, but sometimes at night, people are going faster. So you can ask them to split it out by time of day and which direction people are going. If you look, the cover letter we can split it out, and I'd be glad if they give you that data to help you analyze it.
Thank you.
The other thing I think perhaps, once we get that data, is speak with the county sheriff and say, we have a lot of forgettable things happening here. How
Yeah.
would you like to address them?
if we could get the time of day, it would be very helpful. Because then we
Great,
would
you would
know
call.
the time of day to be.
Right, on the East Road,
Available.
oftentimes they will go over there and set early morning,
Yeah.
Justin will, because a lot of the speeders are trying to get to work because they're late.
Well,
I
it
feel like
turns
a
out
lot of
most
it-
of the people go by Kim Young, 7,739 in a week.
Pretty
So
incredible.
where are they coming from? If they're not coming from the East
East
Road,
Road.
They're not coming. If you add those 2 together, it doesn't total how many are going
Right.
down.
It actually almost,
Yeah. It is
how,
interesting.
how does Kevin get so many when there are only 531 going by rainbows?
Because
Who knows?
140. Yeah, I mean, kind of 140 maybe.
Anyway, anything else anyone wants to add to this conversation? I'm guessing neither one of you wants to lead a speed study committee, eh?
Not particularly, no.
All right, well, the job is open. Look at this, I'm looking at the wrong one. Here we go. Okay, we are down to financial.
So there are no October financial report, because the treasurer did not give the select board assistant the proper paperwork
Oh,
for her
no.
to do her job.
You're gonna put that in the tails, right?
Sure.
Select board assistant Gail Fowler did not give the town treasurer,
Thank you for
by
coming.
Treasurer did not give the select board.
Gail
assistant-
Fowler, yeah.
Took me a while. to
Yeah.
get that.
So you're throwing yourself
And
under
the
the
dog
bus.
ate the dog ate your homework too, right? Yeah.
No, I was sick Saturday and Sunday, so I didn't. get my work done.
Yep.
It just-
Um,
But it was just a poll.
Well, that's good.
Lots of those happening.
Well, let's, review the,
Financial- For the warrants and orders.
well, financial reports 22 year end. I think I had to ask you to put this on, and then I thought you had actually moved it to the,
No, I
no, you
made a
didn't.
note in the
Yep.
cover email that said, these are what I gave you last month. If you don't have them, you need another copy, let me know. and I
Yep.
can make them in the packet. So I'm sure you all brought your stuff in last month.
She did.
Of course, it's a mess. Well, and,
So Kathy did,
I did go through it because I was on a really long car ride. And then I sent Gail an email, and Gail sent me all the answers. And I don't think I am right. I had a hard time following some things, and Gail was able to answer all my questions. I think there was one number that didn't quite line up, but the answer was right. It's like an
right,
intermediary
and I can't
number.
figure that out. When I look at, when you open up that Excel spreadsheet, it says that there's a circular formula someplace, but I can't find it. But looking at it, you know that this subtracted from that, this subtracted from that does not equal what the answer is, but that, and we go to the
Yeah.
formula,
I'll look at it, but
Exactly.
I have not gotten there.
E40 minus D40 equals.
Right.
What's on?
Right. So the main reason to study that, and I'm gonna just say that should be everyone's homework, is that we'll start looking at the budget next month. And those numbers will be for highway, it'll come in as a carryover. And for the town, we have to decide. And last year we talked about a practice, not a policy. We could make a policy of retaining about, remind me, Gail, 10% of our cash flow. At keeping a balance in our checkbook to allow for tax cash flow. Because if you think about it, we send a tax bill in July and we start getting money in August. But that means if we actually hit our budget
Right.
spot on,
Yeah,
we have no money.
we talked about this last time. I
Mm,
think we
yeah.
went over this. Yeah.
Yeah, so we don't generally spend all that money.
Right.
So really thinking about, you know, how we want to handle it. Last year, we put the money, the town voted at town meeting to put that money towards the Pottersburg Culvert project, which because of the world and COVID came in a lot higher than we had budgeted. So that's how we filled that gap. So that's, I guess, all what we'll do about that. And warrants and orders.
I didn't have any.
So in the packet, you just have the warrants, what you got emailed had all the time.
Orders. Yeah.
And I have a few more for you to sign, Kathy, if you got time to.
Okay, yep. I had one more before you leave.
One more.
No, it's, last time we talked about some highway stuff after Eric left, so I want to make sure we
Right,
hit those before he leaves.
yes.
Sorry, it was unintentional. I think we went over, and if you actually could go through this to-do list, that's in the second to last page of there's a whole highway section. And you could with some great satisfaction, you could start checking off the ones that are done. Wouldn't it? Yeah,
Well, that's why I left mine.
I know. I had fun doing that. Okay, any questions or concerns about warrants or orders?
No, I would make a motion that we accept them.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. TD Bank resolutions, is that quick? Just need to sign for something.
Yeah, we just need to officially say, we're gonna appoint Kathy and I for the community fund and you for the other stuff. They're updating their. So. You need to sign where your name is there. We need another board member to sign. Which
So, we need to make motions. That the board, we'll wait till Kevin comes back. Are these all the community fund accounts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The bank account and the
The two,
continuing ed. Yeah.
yep. So a third person needs to sign here.
Okay.
But we could officially wait
Mhm.
until. Kevin comes back. We waited for you. So
I appreciate it.
officially, the Tinmouth Community Fund is a fund of the select board. And the Tinmouth Community Fund has two checking accounts that Gail as town treasurer oversees. And I am the secondary signer on those as the treasurer of the Tinmouth Community Fund. And the bank is asking for us to authorize Gail as town treasurer and me as treasurer of the Tinmouth Community Fund as the signatories on the two checking accounts we have at TD Bank. And I will not vote.
I
So,
will make a
all in favor?
motion
Yeah.
that we appoint Gail and Kathy to be the signatories of the accounts the Tinmouth Community Fund has at TD Bank.
Second it.
All in favor?
I'll abstain.
Um,
You sign there as select board member, I believe.
okay.
Okay, let's go to the, do you mind if we put this one thing ahead of you?
Oh, go ahead. Go
Okay,
ahead.
thank you for your patience.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. So we have on the second to last page our to-do list, and there is a highway section, and what happened last month was we looked at it and you weren't here. Oops. The particular one, so you want to run us through where you are on all the things that are on here?
The roller is nowhere, it's not closer to completion than it was, but it's in the shop. It's ready to go if I get time to fabricate it.
We'll call that winter project.
Yes. Stormwater budget. So that's all. We're good on that, I think.
And
Yeah.
are we're just paying, we're not budgeting for that. I think that's what this question was.
In it, I mean, we've been working it into our work schedule.
Right, and is there a way that you're tracking costs, or it's just part of what you do every, you and the crew do every day? Yep,
But when we get if we get the grants, we keep track of it really close, but
yep,
it's one of those things, if we have time, we go work on. I concentrated on connected segments this year,
mhm,
and we actually did some other stuff that wasn't connected. But, while we were there.
So if you and I work together and you get all your stuff in and I print the report, we can use that report for planning.
Right.
For
Yeah.
the next year in the future.
Yeah, it's looking really good, actually.
Yep.
Town garage, work plan, we're working on that. But like I said, that was a little bit of a surprise, the water bubbling out of the ground when I got back to the solutions.
Yep, you
Cool.
did skip over work plan. I think all those things under the first work plan bullet are done. Is that correct? Just above,
So, yeah,
Harrington Crossroad, North End intersection rebuild, brushwork. Culvert replacement. I think that's all one thing. And then Crampton's work, tree and ditch work.
yeah,
Nice. Make it go away.
Well, then it's gone.
Work plan for town garage.
Yeah, we.
What do you guys have left? You have the septic tank.
We have the septic tank, the stormwater pond, and then, pretty much clean up the site work everywhere.
Do you know what you're doing with the pond now?
Yeah,
Did you
Yeah.
come up and go over that
the
with you?
engineer, but yeah, it was simpler
Okay.
than I thought it was. There was a pipe I missed that I just did not see how it was gonna be functional. And he explained to me how it was gonna be functional, and now I understand. It's way over engineered for what it's actually doing.
Usually is.
But yes, I understand it now, and we can get on it as soon as Morton gets out of the way. And we can't really seed it. So I'm gonna call him and see if it actually has to be done this fall or not.
If you
Be
just
nice to
mulch it,
just
and- yeah.
you know, because there's some special seed that goes in that pond.
Oh.
Some swamp, something.
Oh.
Yeah, it's some special stuff. But he
That's,
said, don't plant it until spring.
Isn't it gonna be full in the spring?
Well, that's what, that was kind of my question to him. Was, well, I have to ask him and see if that pond actually has to be done. If we can wait till spring to do the whole pond.
with like some kind of self-filtering,
Yeah, it's some swamp mixture that sits on top of it and the water, that pond is supposed to have water in it all the time.
right?
There's actually a couple of drains that go down. And I don't believe it's gonna have water in it all the time because there's no water coming out of the big pipe for our drainage
Right.
now.
Right.
There's no water coming out of that. And we got water bubbling out of the ground up 7 feet from where that pipe.
So that's not much.
Yeah, it
There's no
should
way
have.
it's gonna be
That
well.
big pipe should be taking water. And I think it's what it's doing is it's going under and through. So we have really good drainage down there now.
That's good.
Yeah, so that pipe that's bubbling now used to go into the pond, little pond that is behind.
Right.
the
Yeah.
Garage.
Yeah.
That's what it used to. be.
Right, but that wasn't wet year round.
No, it was in the fall and the spring.
Right.
Summertime it dried up. And so now it's fall and
Yeah.
it's got water in it again. So yeah, other than that, it's cleaning. That bank between Kevin's house and the garage, I think we should go through that and make it mowable. It's got grass.
Isn't it
growing.
pretty steep?
It's steep, yeah,
Mhm.
but I think you could mow it with a tractor or brush hog.
Mhm.
We kind of roughed it in and then the grass started to grow and everybody's happy, but it needs, I think it's a springtime job. We'll just make it mowable. If everyone agrees. So it doesn't grow back up in the brush again. Or maybe we want it to. go
Just
back
up
in
to
the-
where that stone, the stones were that you put there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, that whole wedge shaped piece, I think
Yes.
we ought to mow that.
Well, I mean, it is gonna grow back up at some point.
Well, yeah, it'll grow up to the stuff you don't want, you know, losing
Exactly.
I'm in
parsnip. and-
favor, I think it
yeah.
would help.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good idea.
Work plan for San Antonio, I haven't even thought about that. yet.
Well, we have to get the magic number and then we actually start working with the planning commission. Yep. I did want to get your idea on this ash tree removal, 5 weeks a year. I mean, you know, there's a item in the ARPA money that's suggested. You know, we've talked about different approaches. I'm not really sure as a board where we are on this ash tree removal thing. We could spend a lot of money or we could wait for them all to fall down or something in the middle.
Were you able to cut them down this year, summer at all, as you were working on jobs where there were ash trees?
We haven't got any this year.
Yeah.
We just didn't come.
Yeah.
To them. I would like to. If we talked about a brush head for the excavator, or if we're talking about ARPA money, I've
Mhm.
had time to reflect on that a little bit more.
Mm.
And I think our money would be better spent on a chipper here first, rather than the brush head for the excavator, because I think the chipper, we'd get a lot more use out of it. You know, you could use it after storm cleanups and all that stuff. So, just to kick it down the road, but I think I had time to think about it a little bit more, and we would get.
And
And you could use that for your ash borer, you know, it would help with cleaning up the ash borer trees too. If you had the brush head for the excavator, it would do nothing for your ash
Mhm.
issue.
right,
Zero. So,
and do you remember off the top of your head what the costs were for those two items? I kind of think one was 28,000 and one was 50 something thousand, but that's just a
20.
guess.
well, the head was 20 something, it was
Yeah,
low 20s.
yeah, but I think.
I
we
might have
can
my
probably-
spreadsheet here.
We can probably look at the surplus property. If we can get a chipper through them.
Yeah, you can spend as much money as you want on a chipper, or you can buy one for $5,000.
And what are you asking for? 5,000 bucks
No,
or?
absolutely
something in the
not.
middle.
Something in the middle, you want.
Well, it might be helpful for you to shop a little if you happen to have time and give us a little more guidance on that. I don't,
think a $25,000 budget is, you could get, from what I've seen, you can get a pretty decent one for, a
Yeah.
decent used one for that. Danby's, we use Danby's, and Danby's is a dinosaur. And it is a monster. So it just eats everything. It does not care. But it is dangerous and scary.
Yeah, and I
It's
think
what makes it fun.
if we're gonna be spending ARPA money on it, we would need like all of the same things we needed for. Like, we had them all spell things out, like how would it help the community and like. How,
did
like,
we
how
ask Greg's team to do that? I'm
I don't
seeing
remember if
Greg's
there was a chipper.
presentation and I don't think it's in here actually.
Cause I can imagine it would save a lot of man hours, but having those numbers is helpful, being like, how many hours or roughly, how much time does it take to move the tops?
Into that flail.
You know,
The flail machine is $25,000 and then he said hiring a high reach tree cutting machine rental by the hour,
Right,
But I think
$20,000.
if you had the high reach tree company, they're either going to come, they're probably not gonna come with a chip.
Oh.
Unless you. It's.
Add that to the bid, yep.
Correct. So, from what I saw, the video that Dave sent, the town was using their own manpower and their own chipper. And I don't know, we'd have to clarify as to what
Yeah.
that machine comes with. If it comes with no help from the road crew, then,
yeah,
you know, we could set up the traffic signals and they can go.
right. And I think for me anyway, it's like helpful to know. How often it could be used, how much time it could save. And yeah, what you would use it, you know.
Right.
Cause I can think of all the benefits. We just rented one for a week, a huge one, and it was amazing.
Oh, yeah, it's a game
That's
changer
great.
from, I mean, put it in the back of the
Yeah.
truck and haul it to the garage and
Yeah,
try and stack it up and burn it. It's like,
So your usage has to outweigh the. the buying it.
That's helpful.
you know, it's one of those things that came first, the chicken and the egg.
yeah,
You know, if you don't have it, you can't use it.
right, right.
If you have it,
Right.
well, you know, if you have a 2 hour downtime or 2 hours to fill per day, you could hitch onto the chipper and go to work. Or if in the winter time, you know, when you get a week of nice weather, you say, okay, everything's frozen. What can you do? You can go out and chip brush.
Without the leaves on it, which makes it a lot easier.
And we wouldn't have down wood sitting on the side of the road that nobody wants to do anything with. even the landowner for months and months.
You probably still would have that.
Yeah, but the tops
Yeah,
take
the
up a lot of
tops.
space and that,
And the time that you
Yeah.
spend trying to mess with that.
Yes.
Right. and it would make the cleanup storms a lot easier. I can make the argument for why it
You
would be
can-
helpful, but I feel like we need some more information for it. Are we gonna go through this whole list?
I was just gonna do the town garage. We can go through the whole thing if you want. New canvas covered for salt and shed. That's just for me to put in the spreadsheet.
Okay.
Did you do it yet?
I haven't done it yet.
So you can't take it off, Brett.
Yeah, my numbers don't add up, so I have to come in here and sit with you and you and I have to figure out why I'm off by $43 or whatever it is. This was your to-do, Gail, the spring road maintenance practice policy. You were gonna read that.
Otherwise,
So could,
I didn't get much.
wouldn't it be great to like put people's names on these? So
Yes.
highway is Eric until we get to that one, and then it's you. Old Town Garage was the other thing, I wanted to talk about. I know you and I had talked when we were down at the garage about, painting the doors rather than replacing them.
Yeah. the
Which if
exterior main
you
doors.
wanna try that?
Yeah.
That's fine. I mean, as long as, you know, they don't have holes in them and they can be brought back, that would certainly
Yeah, we can
keep
take a look.
them usable for a while. And, I think you had a list for that.
Yeah.
Which was the doors. Maybe there were a roof.
Yeah.
And looking at adding, overhead doors to the south end.
Yeah, we talked about that and it sounded like it got.
Well,
We
I
got
mean,
a
that's
door
really
on
the
back that's
question.
Messed up.
Yes.
Pat, can you mute yourself, please?
Actually, Gail, could you mute everybody?
Yeah,
We do have one door, well, the sliding doors are.
Yeah.
For sure. They're.
They're not meant for longevity.
No,
they've
they're.
been there a long time.
They're functional.
Yeah.
They do.
Well, and just to remind us all, the goal is to keep that building useful for
Right.
another whatever.
Right, but something should be done with that.
Do we need a?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to pull together a proposal, we can look at it.
Yeah, I think my to-do list was patch the roof holes, patch holes in the roof and
Oh, shoot.
work on them. We talked about changing the doors, but after I played with one a little bit, I think we can just sand down, paint them and then. that was it. Oh, I knew that was on my. list.
Just the south, how you had asked about the south end doors. So if you're backing away from that, okay.
I think.
I mean, it might make sense to wait and see how you use that building and how often.
Yeah, it's just gonna
And,
be used for
you know,
cold storage, but
It's
Yeah, I
not
don't
gonna
think
be as big a pain in the neck as it has been once you get,
We won't be in
trucks
and
in
out
the
nearly
regular-
as much. so
yeah, exactly.
It should be better than.
So I think that, just that public works facility turns into, repair Old Town Garage and that.
Of nuclear disaster. You hear these young men saying, nothing else matters if we are all destroyed in a nuclear war that President Biden and Democratic leaders in Congress.
Hey, Pat,
And they are completely failing in their responsibility. President's former responsibility to keep us safe, to keep us free. Are there any Democrats that come to mind right now that are asking tough questions about the war in Ukraine? I want most of those questions come from the right. Well, what happened? Not a single one. And Jesse, you'll remember that $40 billion funding package that went to Ukraine, the very big one in the beginning. There have obviously been many since, but in that one, there was not a single Democrat in the House or the Senate that voted against it. Not a single one. I believe there was a total of 66 Republicans in the House and the Senate. No Democrats. They have been absolutely silent. So these people are right. Where are the so-called progressives? Where are they?
Kathy, you're muted.
They're gonna
There you
unmute
go.
everybody.
Can you
No.
hear us now?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. So we're on the to-do list and we're on the second page, added 10, 11, 22. Gail, if you could put your name on the roadside right-of-way wood policy. You had added this ATV use of town roads and I had asked you what it was and then it moved to here, so you could tell us what it is and I guess we could decide if we're gonna leave it on or take it off.
I put it on there while I contacted the person that had contacted me about seeing dozens of ATVs going past her house. She sent me videos, a ring video of all these people marching down McCoy Road and back several times a month or so ago, and it hasn't happened since. And so I did find out that Wells allows ATVs on some of their roads.
Mm.
I did reach out to the Wells Town Clerk and have not got a response back from her yet.
Hmm.
So I emailed the lady and said, do you want this to come before the select board? And she said, no, it hasn't happened since. So
Okay,
that's why it was on there as a placeholder until
You
I
got
got
Yep.
it out.
information back somewhere.
so it could go away. I would say the first thing we could offer is to put up a sign that says no ATVs on Tinmouth town roads. And maybe that would help. In my experience is people don't read signs, but maybe it would.
At least you can
There
say,
is
"Did you
somebody
see the
on this
sign?
end
Did you
of
see the
town that
sign?"
Really likes ATV, and there's somebody on this side of the town that really likes ATV, and so, you know, we can just make a conversation with a couple of them that might. resolve it. Or they might just come back and say, hey, we want to ride our ATVs on all the town roads.
Right, and then we could have 100 people in here. Oh, boy.
Like Danby's got going on right now.
Yeah, so health insurance 2023, you'll have that maybe next month. Yep.
Should have-
And the review for the generator. Review the quotes for the generator.
I need one electrician to separate them out into new things. One is the 200 amp service for the town office. One is the on-demand generator, and one is where we want to spend money running electricity to the old community. How soon we want to do that.
And then how many, and that's part of the ARPA for the creamery, or that's separate from the creamery request?
The whole creamery committee thought that they were gonna be able to cover it until it came in at thousands and thousands of dollars, so.
Oof.
I think the creamery committee's gonna think that they were gonna spend their money on class and ask money, you know.
And there's a
or ARPA
request in
money
here,
to do-
yeah,
To do something, and that might be.
Yeah.
You know, that money was supposed to do the ramp and the.
next stuff.
Getting the storage room.
Yep.
Souped up, but the electricity could be quite expensive. so.
Hmm.
I don't know if we want to do. The electricity later. Or if we have somebody here.
Right,
Bring
I
us
don't
up
think
to-
you're asking us that, right? Like, I would defer to the creamery committee to prioritize what their list look, you know. Do you want to do the power first or do you want to do the power third? Whatever.
So anyway.
There is a grant that just came through for. You know, it's an emergency management thing and it's
Right.
50%. You can use your ARPA money to qualify. I started reading it and it really looks like a pain in the neck, so. I would like to know how much the generator is before I spend too much time on it. Like, I'm willing to write a grant for 300,000, a grant for 3,000. No, thank you. It's just too much time for my
Yeah. I think
my
the-
track record
the
wasn't
generator-
great on the last one.
Under 20, so.
The generator's gonna be,
Yeah,
wasn't this one like 9?
That one was 14 or something.
Mhm. I would think it is, are you trying to run the fire department too, or
No,
just,
no,
We have our own.
Yeah.
It's
that
just gonna
seems
be-
remarkably high to me, but what do I know?
well, then it may be that it's not that high.
Yeah, to do that grant, you need to follow the town's procurement procedure and you need a minimum of 3 bids. So,
Well,
If it
I'm
is
still waiting for
$20,000,
the
then maybe it's worth it to write the grant. I don't know.
You probably have to upgrade to meet code.
That's what the
Right.
whole
that's-
200 amp service
the
thing is
200
about.
amp service is gonna
That
have, to-
only code.
That's part of why it's so
Well,
much more
that's why this
expensive than
morning-
anyone thought.
And service is gonna go down, salary,
Right.
it'll be fed out of the culvert.
Et
So I
cetera.
don't know if that gets looped in with the on thing generator, or if it's gonna be a project by itself, or.
Right.
I'm
Well,
not sure.
I think getting the numbers separated will help us
Okay,
make those decisions.
one did it separate, one didn't, and the third one hasn't given me money information.
Yes. I would love to put a date on this auditor piece, which we've been kicking down the road since 2020.
Yep.
And it's
October.
October,
So
so,
talked to Sandy. In
Yeah.
September, her bank was undergoing this big switch over to new software, and she said, there's no way I can do anything until I can. So that's why it's
okay,
the-
So maybe she'll have something for our November meeting.
okay. I have now really cherry picked this list. You want to finish this list or go move on and then come back to it at
I'd
the
like-
right place?
To move on.
We do have, it's still on the agenda later. By the way. All right, anything else for Eric? Just, you're welcome to stay as long as you want, but that was the piece that, you were gone when we talked about it last night. Okay, look, we're on follow-up review list.
we forgot one resolution
Oh,
for the bank. That's the other accounts.
Oh, right, yeah.
and don't you forget, thanks, Eric.
Let's do the constable thing, because he's been here a while.
Let's do the constable thing. Okay, Gail, provided a report on constable statutes, duties when voters have chosen not to have a constable perform law enforcement duties. You wanna start out with an update? Yeah, we also got some
Well,
paperwork here.
and I read through it all, and I do have a suggestion, but
Great,
we can hear
we
from
can
Gail.
start there.
So, in reading through, we have this new bill passed in May that would allow a town to eliminate the position of constable. And when I was talking about the constable, a lot of people thought we had already done that when we voted before. So I would like to propose that we put it to the town to vote whether or not they want to eliminate the position of constable. If they do, then we don't have to go through all of this. If they don't, then we can have the conversation about job description and all of that. So it would be probably our town meeting in March.
So the town already believes that they voted to eliminate it.
Well, not the
No,
town.
the
but
town
some
voted
people.
to
Right.
have it not be a voted position, to have it be appointed by the select board. I believe that we thought that that meant that we could appoint or not.
Right.
That's what it means, I believe.
Yeah, and so what I'm proposing is that we put it to the town to decide whether to eliminate the position or not. And depending on how that vote goes, then we can go through creating a job description and going through all of
Duties and so
these
forth.
duties, because it's a lot to figure out. I mean, it's, it's lengthy and there's liability insurance and currently we appoint the sheriff, our constable. Isn't he our sheriff and our constable? Isn't that what Frank said last time?
I think we just,
We have. the
law enforcement
sheriff
is
do
through the
law
sheriff.
Enforcement,
Right.
because constables are not allowed law enforcement.
Right.
So that's what the constables do. There are other duties of a constable.
Right,
The position is officially vacant. because
Right.
The board hasn't.
Yeah.
felt the need to have a
But I would be happy to do what I was doing before, not having the authority to stop people, just be a deterrent down.
right. And so my proposal, well, I appreciate you being willing to provide that service to the town.
Right.
I feel like we have already voted out the position to some extent. And I would like to put it to the town again to vote whether to eliminate the position entirely, since we haven't had one anyway. That's what I'm suggesting.
Do you want to make a motion?
I make a motion that we propose to eliminate the position of constable and vote on it as a town at our next town meeting
March of
Mar-
23.
or whenever we vote.
March of 23
March
is
of
your next.
2023.
We missed
What do we call it
November.
now?
If
though?
it's something
It's
that,
still town meeting.
It's still town meeting. Okay.
Yeah. Do you want
But
to
if-
second that? And then
but
we'll
if-
discuss it.
sure, I'll second it.
Thank you. Discussion.
Okay, but if it's something that he would like to do prior to town meeting, can he write up something for tails or?
It's not an option at this point. I don't think.
There were, did you read all the different steps we're supposed to go through before we appoint someone?
Yes.
It's
That's
But
what
also,
Meadows saying.
If the select.
Let's do
board-
it if we
If-
decide to keep
if the
constable,
town
and if we
decides.
don't,
Right.
then we don't have to do it.
And I am proposing that we do not appoint a constable until after the town meeting.
No, I
The town
get,
has
yeah, no, I
succession,
get
And
that.
we don't have anybody acting as constable
Right.
until that.
No,
time.
I get, yep. But I was just wondering when the town meeting rolls around,
Mm,
if he would like to explain his positioning
Oh,
on
yeah.
why he would like
Yeah.
to do
okay,
it.
that
Oh,
makes
yeah.
sense. Yep.
sorry. Yes,
then-
that would be fine. At the informational meeting,
So that
there would
people
be an
have,
opportunity to speak.
right,
town,
so that people
yeah.
have an understanding of. You know, he wants to do it.
Yeah.
And so people would have an understanding of why.
Yeah,
Give me a lot of time to think, break something good.
Yeah, and I would suggest that you put something in tails because we don't know what kind of turnout we'll get at an information.
right.
meeting. Yes, Michael has a comment. Would you like to listen to it? Yeah. What's your comment, Michael?
Thank you. The select board must appoint a town officer to discharge the constable's duty, even if this is under the elimination of office.
Mm,
So you guys are required to still have some type of law enforcement mechanism for the town to, because there is a long list of things, duties that the constable may perform.
yeah,
And of those duties, how many of those are the sheriff's department actually doing? That's something that you guys should kind of recognize.
yeah.
Not that they're going to quell riots, but
Well, we
Let's
did
hope
read,
not.
I did read through it.
when it comes to,
Yeah.
injured animals and dog complaints, I'm not sure if the sheriff's department is necessarily on board for that.
Well, that's why we have our excellent animal control officers.
That one we
Available.
do have
Okay.
covered.
I don't need to, I was called into Danby by the sheriff department to do an animal control thing in Danby, because the sheriff did not want to do it.
Yeah,
I was definitely supposed to go out of town.
Nope, you're not.
I didn't think so.
no,
I didn't think so.
they should have their own animal control
Yeah.
Yep.
officer.
That's why I didn't question to get paid for. I was like, okay.
Well,
I'll
they
do
should
it, but
pay.
I didn't know if I was supposed to even want to.
Well, you were doing it as a private citizen if you did it.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, the answer is no.
That's what I
Your
thought.
jurisdiction is just the town of Tinmouth.
That's what I thought, yeah.
Yep, you got that right.
Yeah,
I'm glad you're all right, and
Didn't get mauled.
that is outside of the scope of the animal
That-
control officer.
that's what I was
Yep.
questioning, of like, I know. Like constables can't go out of their jurisdictions. And neither.
Correct.
I know,
For most things.
right,
Yeah, it's laid out pretty clearly in this
yeah,
helpful document. that
I
you
got it
received.
all, now.
There you go.
And I also got the animal control booklet, I took the class, and
That's great.
it's quite a bit of things to actually process somebody's animal.
Oh, yeah,
We always hope we don't get to that point.
Oh,
right.
yeah,
Other discussion, are we ready to vote?
I'm ready to vote on what the motion is at hand.
Yes.
yeah,
And the motion is
that's
to
fine.
vote on it at town meeting in
Yeah.
March.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
The
Okay.
issue of the vacant constable, if we are required to have a constable. When Frank was on the board, I have a memory of him saying that we could appoint the sheriff as the constable, because he would already have all the training and all of the requirements required for a town constable. Does anybody else remember that, Gail, Kathy?
I think we would have to talk to the sheriff's department.
Okay,
I know when uh, Steve starts with a B, was the county sheriff.
Oh, Bernard.
Thank you.
mm,
Starts with a
When
B.
Dave was the deputy, we wanted to have him run for constable, but the sheriff's department wouldn't let him serve as constable, so I don't know. We'd have to talk with Dave if the sheriff's department would accept that responsibility or not.
Yeah.
I don't know if they will, but that's the question that we would have to.
Okay. Maybe we can, do you mind inquiring? Okay, that would be great, and then we can
Take that up
take
in a
that up
month.
at the next time. All right,
Okay, we skipped ARPA discussion. Where would you like to, how would you like to handle the ARPA discussion? We have the spreadsheet.
well, also if Paul,
You have a-
if you want to say, you're welcome to say, but. also
Yeah,
if you-
yeah, well, I'm gonna take off.
All right, thank you for
Thank
coming.
you.
Oh, thank you for at least talking to me about it,
Oh, yeah,
being nice.
Well, thank you
Yeah.
for being nice and for your patience.
yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Does anyone else want a copy of the spreadsheet, which is a little crooked?
Oh, yeah, I would love that, actually.
Which button do I push? The moon, the sun?
The moon is gonna take a minute.
Would you like one?
Oh, yes.
Do you have that on your computer?
Yeah, send it to you.
I couldn't find it, send it to you. You
Yeah,
sent me other stuff, but.
I
Yeah,
know,
you
that's
sent me
what,
other stuff.
can you tell how it feels when you get so many things from a person and you're like, where is that? And you just can't find it. Okay.
Well,
copy.
I do have to search by word sometimes and it helps sometimes. it doesn't.
Thank you.
Some of my titles are one, oh, I didn't, I need one more.
Hmm.
Something that's spelled, yeah, I think it's this. This is, I think that's the new agenda.
Hollis needs to put it up there.
So I think, the other things that have been added. So cybersecurity. We did. Tree work, high reach machine, volunteer. So we need to add. The on-demand generator you said was 20,000. I'll just put that in there.
Roughly.
I think it's less than that.
I hope it's less than that. Okay, but we wanted to add the chipper.
We'll be taking it, all right, I guess.
I'm just adding, I'm
Yeah, yeah,
not
not
choosing, just
removing.
adding to the, and what did we say? Somewhere between 5 and 50, you like 25?
Yeah, you should be able to find it.
Yep, and then. Also, so you have the on-demand generator here, Gail. There's also the town office, I'll call it wiring project. That's the 200 amp service. And then there's the creamery electricity. And we have the generator. And you don't have prices for that yet, is that correct?
I have it from. One person has split it out 3 ways. One has them all lumped together and we haven't heard from the third person.
Okay, maybe just throw a number in there for town wiring project, understanding that we may get a better bid.
Let's see how good one. Search. The 200 amp surface is $4,600. The old creamery is 6,800. And generator is 11,500. And so that comes to 21, 22. Almost 23,000, and the other one I got was 18. For
Total.
hours and things to do.
Oh, I see. So yeah, those numbers will be placeholders. All right, so just to apologize again, you can see that it starts with Tinmouth Volunteer Fire Department. The title needs to go up one row, which makes like Old Creamery. It should say next phase of upgrades, so you can kind of get the idea here of where those rows should be. And then this is, you see what I
okay,
mean?
So the old creamery is
Yeah, if you,
Yep.
I'll fix it. Okay, I'll write myself a note, fix this and add. And then we've also approved the iPad and the owl, which was something. $1,800 or $2,000 or something like that.
the owl was 1,200 and the iPad was just under 19 something.
Okay, well, same thing. We'll do a placeholder for 2,000. So we have approved 4,570 or so. And when we met with the ARPA committee, which must have just been a month ago, I believe, you had a somewhat scary comment that we had gotten another check and we were only at 133, not the total you thought.
Yeah, and I haven't had a chance to track that.
I saw that another town had reported that and they were still
So the
saying
first-
that they were gonna get
The
another
first
check.
time They gave it to us in 2 checks, so I'm assuming that this is what's gonna happen too.
Okay.
I haven't seen any chatter about it.
Okay, so we will not spend $177,000 until we're sure we get.
Right. We have what, 80 right now or something?
No, 133, is that what we were up to, Gail? That we'd received?
38 and 31 or something.
Okay. So, do people
Well, it's
wanna
only 120.
88 and 31? Yeah. Do people want to think about this? Do you want me to send you this as a spreadsheet with little boxes and then you can fill it in and get your total up to whatever we decide we're gonna allocate? Certainly we'll need to wait until November to find the outcome of
Mhm.
the real estate item that's on the ballot.
Yeah, actually, for the fire department, are these listed in terms of like most needed? Does Sherry? do-
Sherry had quite a long narrative.
Oh, right.
Yeah, our
I
SCBA's
think
are,
we did read anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'll go back and read that. I just.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember if that was.
And I think the thought was to not buy 6 new sets in
Right.
1 year because
Yeah.
then they would all be the same age.
Yeah.
But I do think there was something about you needed X number of sets.
We need
And-
6 total.
I don't think they were gonna buy them all at once, but they wanted the money, so they would have them to buy them.
Yeah.
Right.
When they were doing it.
so
I guess I would like more time before
Yep.
and so I would say
Yep,
I would
means
be
you have
ready by
homework.
November,
Means you have
I
homework.
think.
That's fine.
I can't remember how long the packs are good for.
I think Sherry put it in, she did a very good job.
It's
Yeah.
in the report.
Yeah.
Yes, I would like to acknowledge that Sherry followed all the rules and wrote an excellent report, and I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Sherry. Okay.
Let me just zip back to the follow-up list because we did skip
We
a
did.
very large section in the middle. So continuity of operations plan, that is also Gail. I think you actually said to us that you were making progress on that, but I haven't seen anything.
Are
Yeah.
there templates for what other towns are doing, like in terms of like,
There's something that we're going through.
Oh.
And I need to fill in some stuff. I gotta meet with Eric because I need a list of all the equipment. That's- When we started it, it was the middle of the pandemic and what happens if the road crew goes down?
Right. yeah,
That's when we started from,
Right.
yeah,
but
Well-
it's something, a town-wide scope that, you know, it
Right.
wasn't Eric does one, and I do one,
yeah.
everybody needs. to
How does the
Right.
town run when?
I think that, you know, we could. What I would love to have documented. In case you go down for a cold or something is just, you know. A guide. To what you do. And I know that's huge and we've been asking for it for a long time. And let's hope we never need it, but
Oh,
you know,
what I
maybe
can't do?
as-
I can't do it versus Merrill did. When I became town clerk. He said, oh, you'll just have to learn it by doing it, honey.
Oh, dear Lord. Yeah.
That was the
Right?
training I got for town clerk.
Good Lord.
and that was a long time ago and
Ooh.
it is
It's way more
complicated. Yeah. So I don't know, you know, I know you're training Trish and maybe as she is learning, I know you mentioned that you had Kim Young document some stuff. To have her begin to do that as she gets to a place where that could be helpful.
Christian's trying to revise the instructions so that she knows, understands what they mean.
You mean what Kim wrote?
No, we've rewritten it several times and,
Mhm.
you know, Christian's helped rewrite it, but.
So it's even
sometimes
more
still don't quite come
understandable.
out right, so it's, we gotta keep looking.
That's great. When I work,
Okay.
yeah.
But we are. I mean,
Um,
that's just the bookkeeping. That's not
That's a
everything
big-
else.
I
mean,
know.
There are other things in that, Nancy Birdsall started it years ago. And so
Right.
there are other things on that list, but
Right,
Yeah.
and we're still not there, but it'd be nice to make progress every month.
When I worked for a nonprofit, there was a binder for what would happen if the executive director got hit by a bus. It was this is like this black binder that had all the things that you'd need to know to run the nonprofit if she got hit by a bus.
They were on their game. Nice job. Nice job. Here we have the auditor recommendations again. So maybe we'll put that as November 22 and see if we can stick to that. Equity inclusion, I think, Gail has put this on here to remind us that we created it in April and
Yeah,
the thought was that maybe we would have a review.
I thought we did have a review,
I think you gave a report.
a report. Maybe give us a review we were not very active over the summer.
Yeah.
I will admit, we were all very busy. We're a seasonal committee, apparently.
Apparently. I don't know. There was a pretty nice Tinmouth day.
That's
Give
true.
yourself credit for that one.
And then there was a really busy period of time, August through
Yeah.
now,
Um,
but there's more happening now, so I would say a review would be more appropriate at the beginning of the year.
yeah, well, how about February?
Yeah, that's
Because, January, we're doing the budget.
yeah, February sounds.
February is like this
Perfect.
quiet little month before town meeting,
Nothing
Theoretically.
happens, I'm sure.
theoretically. All right, tech plan, check. We, I assume that you have contacted
I have
whose name I can't remember, Zach.
Zach.
Zach, great. And you'll keep us updated on that.
Yep.
The MRUUSD, do you want to talk about that insurance thing here? Or do you want to keep working on it before we bring it to the board?
I think you and I need to have a discussion about it, but
Okay,
I mean, you did give an update at the last time, so we can probably cross this off.
well, that, yeah, so the remaining issue,
satisfaction.
we were asked to provide a list of services that the town provides to the district, and we did that, and it was a very friendly exchange. And, the last piece is to figure out insurance, and so Gail has been interacting with our insurance company, and there are a couple things for us to do and to look into, and we can report back. We need to have them make us a named insured on their policy.
They did, yeah. I've
You
done
got that?
already.
Okay.
That was.
Yeah,
That was
and
the
then
thing
the
you wanted
question
to
is
ask.
just,
That was a no-brainer. It's
Yeah.
the other thing is, suggestions on how we can have Wade come do an inspection. Do stuff a little bit safer.
I don't
I
know.
don't know if Wade's gonna come do that, but he might have some suggestions.
Yeah, so anyway, that's the last piece is the insurance. And I will say, isn't it nice that I know who Tim Hart is, because I got a call from the pickleball group tonight that walked in and there was a giant puddle in the middle of the community
Oh, no.
center floor, and I was like, Tracy, why are you calling me? Call Rainbow, and I'm like, wait, Rainbow doesn't have Tim's number. So they mopped it up and we let Maureen and Tim know, and we will get a report. It was 10 feet by 15 feet and there was no visible water source from above or below, or she said, it looks like someone just dumped out a bucket of water in the middle of the floor.
Weird.
So they mopped it up and played pickleball.
That's not good.
Strange.
Anyway,
Well, maybe somebody was gonna mop and.
housing rehab program review, September, missed that.
I just have to type it up. It's done.
Let's put that on for
Great.
November.
The balances and, the original.
Yep. That's just a sort of, annual update. Yep. Then you have your buildings list, the emergency generator hookup could be generator. And then I think, did the handrail still need to be replaced?
Well, the hookup was at one point, we were just gonna do
Right, I know. So now we're gonna,
the handrails. They're in the, oh, I did better move them before Saturday. Roy bought them, and his wife fell down and broke her shoulder. She was in today. She had to have rotator cuff surgery, so he had to take care of her for a couple of weekends. So he's on it. It's supposed to be done before cold weather.
perfect. Paint. Handrails to library and old firehouse, comma, paint. I don't know if that
We
means,
got this wall painted.
that didn't mean paint the handrails, that meant paint the buildings.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, the handrails are gonna get painted too.
Yep.
And Ken Krantz did a little thing up here in the corner.
Fix the
above
clapboards.
vault, fix
Yep.
the claps. and so Kevin's gonna take care of painting these
Thank you.
before cold weather, right? You have to paint above 55
50.
degrees.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's a good day.
There's,
It would be.
the rug that Ken used on top of the,
Yeah, it's still up there.
no, it fell off. It's on the porch of the,
Perfect. I told him I'd put it there, so. There it is.
There you go. And then you have the old creamery here, which is,
Yep, the backside's gotta get painted.
that's your list. And then the old firehouse. That has been done, or that's still on the list? Repair the walkway.
the walkway, the railing thing got fixed. The ice came down and broke a post.
Yep.
That got fixed.
But windows
We
and
haven't
paint.
done any painting of windows and.
Yep.
That needs to stay there.
ARPA plan to spend. We're not waiting for the committee anymore. We're just waiting for us. Audit recommendations.
Hopefully in November is when. We will have
Yep.
something from. Sandy.
That was the policies. Are they gonna also look at all these other things? Right?
Yeah.
Conflict of interest policy, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, we have conflict of interest policy with the kind of-
Great. Budgeting for delinquent taxes, I think we've kind of figured that out, although. Yeah. I was not remembering what the cash receipts module meant.
It's just the way that you document
Document.
how things come in and what goes
Okay.
where and what things-
Perfect. We had talked about getting an intern.
Yeah,
Did we miss that?
we missed it for fall. I'm hoping to do it. in
Okay,
January.
I think part of the idea was, the second bullet here, set up a schedule to review policies, ordinances, practices, and to really do a binder.
Yeah.
Pull that together,
Or
I
more
think
than one.
whatever we need, right? And then at the same time, I think in, it's probably a select board binder would be like a monthly list of things to track. And you have a nice list started here of just, we should be reviewing these things, which maybe we are and maybe we aren't. And if we made ourselves a calendar that said in May, you're going to review your personnel policy, and in probably in November, you're gonna review your equipment replacement fund, etc. And I think that gets us all the way through this. Thank you. Fund balance discussion, I think we kind of hit that actually above in our year end. Discuss heat pumps for town office. The word of the day is that the money is back for municipalities.
Oh, fun. That's great.
And, you know, stay tuned, but
So we put that on there because when we went down to meet the river, the new guy, Tim Hart, does heat pumps, so. She wanted us to sign up.
because my old guy I really liked is
Yeah,
not able to perform. He no longer comes
yeah.
quickly. So this new guy is like that. So we were getting, Gail was like, I really want heat pumps. And I'm like, okay, let's get a quote.
Great.
So do we need to get a quote or do we need to wait?
I
for
think
the
we need to
process for
wait
more money?
because it's federal money, so there are probably gonna be strings attached.
Always.
They said something about, you know, we're gonna take the money from this place instead of that place because it means that these rules don't apply, but those rules apply. And I was just like, yeah. But every town, many towns are
Yeah.
really paying attention and they're really hoping to get, you know,
Heat pumps.
they're like, okay, it's gonna be 45 million, so we'll do $9,500,000 projects. And I'm like, wait, what about the little guys? We don't
Yeah.
need $500,000. We would take like, I don't know, gee, let's ask for 100 or something.
Right, right.
And
So-
what's it gonna take? 2 heat pumps.
Well, I mean, this is your opportunity to make sure that there's nothing else you need to ask for while you're at it. But I do think we're in pretty good shape, but, you know.
Oh, I'll get
Well,
my
look.
elevator then?
What
No, that's
about
to
the
save
electrical
energy.
update? Does that count?
We could actually roll that into our heat pump quote because we can't do the heat pumps without upgrading the service. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
That's a really
Great.
good idea.
let's try that.
Okay, we did the heat feedback form. We're on members' concerns. And if there are none, we were gonna share the ARPA reaction.
Well, why don't we
Well,
do,
I did try to save citizens concerns,
yeah,
citizens input concern from Michael.
Oh, do you have any concerns, Michael?
I have.
Wait, let's put it this way. Do you have any feedback? Positive or negative? It could be a concern or just something else. My phone is dead, so.
So I guess, when I got letters in the mail this week that the select board is trying to buy a right of way for $14,000 to a piece of property that we already own and we already have a road going to. My biggest question is why? This does not seem like a good use of funds at any point. You guys spent a lot of time in executive session, you guys spent a lot of energy on this for, and that's just buying the right of way. That has nothing to do with the road that's going to need to go in there, the parking lot that's going to go there, all for, a walking trail, like yet another walking trail. And I'm honestly like, my jaw was like, why are you guys pursuing this? When we literally have a road that goes right back to it, how many people are going to be using this walking trail and the amount of infrastructure that you guys are pushing in at this point? I mean, and then to compound that, like, this has all kind of been done in secret, like nobody really knew what you guys were doing. And I know it is above the board, blah, blah, blah. But, I make a regular attendance at this meeting. And I did not know what was going up. So to suddenly have this dropped a month before, the election without any real discussion from the community or have any input of why were you guys thinking this? Like this, obviously, there's a reason. Do you have a good reason, or is it just because you want to do it? You want to have access on that side as opposed to saving that $14,000 or whatever, or double that, because by the time we get into the road and the parking lot and the right of way, and then we get into, and there's just so many things that right now it does not, I'm questioning why it would seem like a good idea for the three of you. It just, it boggles my mind. I mean, because we're talking about we're talking about a piece of property that it doesn't have, isn't even developed. You know, like you'd have to go in and then put even more money into it. And it's just, at this stage in the town with the building and the cost overrun and everything that's going on, it's like, it doesn't seem like a very prudent position to go to the town and say, hey, we want to do this because we want another walking trail around. I mean, we have a lot of walking trails, a lot.
We do?
Ridge Trail,
That's
Ridge
one.
Rackman's, the Purchase. I mean, we got a lot of places for people to walk.
Okay, so
Thank you for your comments. You can respond if
the
you'd like or not.
reason we were tossing that idea around was because at some point it is gonna become a recreation area, I believe. To what extent, I don't know. Accessing it through the town garage and transfer station, you have no idea how many people are gonna use it. It could be a nightmare having that many people. You don't know how many people are gonna use it. But down the road, how far we develop that is gonna be how many people use it. We have an access to it that isn't gonna interfere down there. Then it's an opportunity to have it. or
Right.
not have it.
But there's already access.
There is, but if that gets developed to what, I mean, if it gets developed to whatever,
It's hypothetical, right? I mean, it's a walking
at
trail.
some
walking
point, it's
trail.
going, but at some point, it's gonna get developed into more. It's gonna become a state or a town recreation area. So at some point, it's gonna get developed into more outdoor activities. So as the more and more it becomes developed over the years, is gonna, depending on the amount of traffic, is gonna be a big hindrance to the town's functioning down there.
It's about
Easier access.
accessing an asset. And the opportunity.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I mean,
I get what you're saying.
it
It's
sounds like-
already accessed.
You guys just
But
don't
it's-
know you don't know what you're gonna do. You think you wanna do something, so you're gonna spend money. to
Well, I
build a
mean,
road.
it's the plan, I mean, it's in ARPA too. They want to develop that.
How many skaters do you know are gonna come up to?
I don't know.
I mean, this is thinking, this is about like doing long-term planning and thinking about stuff, not just because it seems like a good idea at the time.
So it's about
it's-
opportunity. So we talked about this in our executive session about how it's about opportunity. Right now is the opportunity to gain this access, and this opportunity may not present itself again. So while no, there are no concrete plans for what we will do with the property that the town owns, gaining access that's easier to access, that doesn't interfere with the town, that doesn't cause any liability issues with our transfer station and our town garage and our town trucks, because we would have to build a different road that doesn't go through, because having people go in and out where the town trucks are having to go in and out,
You
Would-
did that already.
but on
But for the
specific
transfer
days.
station, nobody's accessing it for recreation right now. I
So
mean,
it's
nobody's
about
parking and
having
walking.
this opportunity to potentially do it.
And everyone gets to vote.
And we get to vote on it.
There
This
you
is
go.
why
But-
this is why we're doing it as a
But
vote.
Eric said that if we did it down there, that he was gonna want another road put in. Beside the road that's down there to search, to go around everything to access it.
We have like 600 residents. How many hordes of people are gonna be coming in at 2 o'clock in the morning to disrupt him when he's filling up the plow truck. I mean, it's just about logistics. It's just, it seems like a lot of money for a very tiny return when if you have one or two vehicles that are gonna go park and have people noodle around a walking trail.
Right, but it is, like I said, it is going to become more and more developed as the years go by.
But it may not.
Okay, wait, I would like to
think there are
stop this
town people in
conversation
town
because the next item is the same. And Gail is going to share some other feedback she got, and you have had your 3 minutes, so we can all hear the other feedback that she got, and then everyone can vote on their kitchen table or on November 8th.
Right.
Because you all got a ballot in there.
Yeah,
So there was several people that had comments. Some of them are like, you're paying how much for that right away? Who owns the property, is it the select board member profiting from this? No, there's no conflict of interest. The Strattons own the property. We want it down on the far end down there. And by the way, this little piece up here would make it easier to get down here. They wanted to have more discussion about it. And I said, well, it's a short time frame, and the select board couldn't make it public until they had the purchase and sales agreement. I can relate that there's concern about where the driveway is going to be. The
Mm,
road commissioner does not think he will give the town a driveway permit to get in there because it's too dangerous. You can pull out and go this way, but if you're trying to turn south, somebody can come over the top of the hill and bring you.
And he did say today it's in the water.
The former road commissioner said that there's a big bunch of water that comes through here oftentimes and goes under there, and that would have to be dealt with. I think he had your father put in 2 culverts to handle when it got down that far, so somebody would have to figure out where all that water is gonna go.
we'd have to measure it to see about visibility.
Right. So anyway, those are little things that came up, and mostly it was wanting more explanation and what it was gonna cost. I think in your letter it didn't say what it
Right.
was. It is on.
I realized
the
that later.
ballot, but,
Oops.
I think it would be nice
So-
to know that, if the town buys a right of way that they can't use, I don't think that the townspeople would be very thrilled about that.
Well,
I
and
think we'll figure
it's
that
the,
Well, no. I did not.
It's-
I mean, we did try to get the right of way in the middle, which is where
Right.
the logical place is, but if you were the Strattons,
Hmm.
they didn't want their little field chopped in half because we couldn't get
Right.
to the other side, so. That's why it is where it is, and I didn't think about asking Eric about it until a couple weeks ago. Because I didn't think it'd be a problem, but
yeah, considering
Apparently
my
it
sister's
is.
driveway.
Well, the water could be a pretty big issue.
because there's a lot of water comes down, not all the time,
Mhm.
but oftentimes it's a river out here running down and then it goes into the water. Into there sometimes.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I mean, we did start
People
this
get to know you.
process, yeah.
Is more important than just good ideas.
So we had to get the initial. Can we do it?
Mm.
Finally, can we get it?
But
And
just,
then,
just opening it up, like suddenly
Oh.
things were discovered that you guys, it would have been beneficial to the select board had this been a more open discussion with the town.
And the other comment from a couple of people was, what do the neighbors think about having a recreation area there? Were any of the neighbors consulted about that being developed into a recreation area? It's about people. the Retail. and everything.
there's 2, me and Alyssa. For years they've been talking about doing it, so.
We've been talking about that as a recreation area
For-
as long as I've lived here.
Yeah.
And we have asked for that right of way. I think this was the 3rd time, maybe the 4th. And we've been turned down every time. So it was just the moment where it was a possibility. And
And we're putting it to the vote,
we're putting it to a vote. Yeah. And
and we
we
could have that
started
information when we-
negotiating in like, July. June? July. And that's how long it took. And that was not us that was dragging our feet. That was their situation developing.
But then it just dumped on the townspeople, like,
We
here's an idea.
literally
and-
got the purchase and sale agreement on that day. The day,
Let's
a
say
week
on the
ago.
6th, yeah.
We got it at like 4 o'clock. We voted at 5 o'clock. And we wrote the letter and sent it out
The next day.
basically on Tuesday, which was the next day that we got it. So I don't disagree with you.
I mean, you
but
understand where, I mean, there might be.
We
people that
said
wanna show
we'd
up.
like to wait till March and they said, no, we need to close in as soon as
Yeah.
possible.
So it's just an
So, it
opportunity
is
we're
what it is.
presenting to the town to decide, and I think we couldn't have. You know, we are seeing if this is an opportunity we can pursue or not, and there is an informational meeting. For the vote on the 8th,
I think that it's on the 7th.
and it's on the
Okay.
7th at 6:30.
It's on the 7th. It might be, a lot of people are gonna vote before then,
Yeah,
which makes it harder.
right, but
But our moderator is, she's ready for it. The informational meeting we had on the zoning vote. Is Holly and I and Vito.
raucous
So hopefully a few
group,
more people will show up to this.
Yeah. yeah, and I think it's
I was
just that this
thinking
is,
that I would.
Yeah.
Put your letter on Front Porch Forum or on the website or something.
that's a good idea.
Didn't everybody get it or?
Yeah, everybody.
Not everybody reads the
Oh.
mail.
I think they're more likely to read the mail than Front Porch Forum.
If we put it on Front Porch Forum, then that would give people a chance to discuss it.
Yep.
It's true,
You know,
that's a good idea.
Of course, that would only be the people that are on. Front Porch.
Right, and I think
Right.
the reality is that. This was an opportunity that is only available to us right now. If we could have waited, we would have. If we could have had more open meetings about it, we would have. We're putting it to the town to vote on because we're giving everybody an opportunity to have that say on it, and if the vote is no, then the opportunity passes. And so
Then.
Yep.
Eric
that's,
gets access
that's what
to
it is.
on
Yes.
the-
Our next meeting. So Monday, November 7th, is that informational meeting and then we'll vote on the 8th and then we have a meeting on the 10th.
Right.
And there's a possibility I will be out of town that week. I will keep you posted.
Okay,
I can come to a meeting on Zoom.
like
I
you're
will
gonna be
have
gone the
already
7th,
voted.
or you're gonna be gone.
Nope, the whole week.
Oh, great.
My daughter said, you can come visit this week. And I said, okay.
Yeah.
I said, how about another week? No, this is the week. I will do.
Okay.
I have basically been invited. This would be the second time in 8 years. So
Wow.
I will go. If that is in fact the week, I will keep you posted.
Yeah.
I will keep you posted. With that, any need for an executive session? Don't believe so.
I don't have one.
I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I would make a motion that we adjourn.
Second it.
All in favor?
I drove my truck, Kevin, so.
Yeah,
we have time
I'll
to
look
go.
at it before, yes. So
In the
Alyssa
dark.
is, going to be buying that from David.
Good for her.
Is there anything that she's gonna need from you to do that, like? I don't know,
She's buying everything.
probably.
Okay. No, the attorney will do better work and figure out if he's understanding.
All right. She
He
can,
has to have my permission.
that's fine. So
It comes with strings.
the way it is set up is we believe that she
Oh, hang
can
on,
buy
hang on,
parts.
Hang on. Just 1 minute.
Right.
Yeah, turn off.
The
turn off
meeting
the
is
public.
adjourned here, so. we have to stop the-
We want the town's input on this.
Oh, you could put your